Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Miller Motorsports Park for the sixth race in the 2022 NRSL Digital Storm Cup Series. We're gearing up for a 14-lap event this season with a little bit of different strategy at play, a bigger fuel tank, and a little bit of a harder tire compound. So expect these drivers to only have to pit once today. That's the expectation, not a guarantee. As last two seasons, we've seen drivers pit anywhere from 3 to 5 laps into a run. We should see that number jump up to about 7 to 9 laps into this race. As always, no caution flags on road course. Last week's winner, Seth Cole, is on the pole, and I'm once again joined by Vince Freeze, who is ready to get bye from the West Coast.
That's a good pun right there. And how about polar opposites of the spectrum? Seth Cole gets the big win. Cement Oskin goes for an absolute insane ride through the air. And then you got Fitzwater on road 2 with Kev Shear. Fitzwater last year screwed up with his pit lane shenanigans with the crew chief. Can he do some redemption today? And also, this is it, man. The first big test of what owners' points can do. We've seen some interesting owners' points results, and we're going to get to that in the go or go home as well.
This is Seth Cole's first pole of the year and a record-extending 13th pole of his career. We didn't nickname this guy Send It for nothing. That pulls him away from second in the all-time polls. I believe that was Jonathan Zorlin. I'm going to just recheck here real quickly. Nope, it was Charles Sandfer. Charles Sandfer with 11 polls in his career. Seth Cole now with 13. The next closest driver on that list is Dylan Young with 9. As you mentioned, Vince Cement Oskin is to his left side. Oskin has won on a road course before, dating all the way back to Sebring in 2017. Road 2, as you mentioned, Zachary Fitzwater Sr. Now the Jerky Pro Truck Series not coming back here this year. Well, Fitzwater won both those races in 2020 and 2021. We'll see if Fitzwater can finally get his first Cup Series road course victory here today. He's got last year's one of two races. Oh, man, let me rephrase that. Kev Shear won one of the two Pukekohe races last year. He starts in 4th. Row 3, bit of a surprise out of Priya McShane. Not much of a surprise is Allison Rain. She won at Sebring last year. Row 4, James Ellison and Amanda Evans. We know Ellison has shown some pace at this track before in Jerky Pro. I believe it was last season. And in row 5, we've got Sebastian Kukulon and last year's winner here, Charles Sandfer, the first of his 8-win season. Let's go trackside for the command to fire engines, and we'll get through the rest of the field.
Drivers, start your engines.
Only other past winner at this track was Jeff Toledo in the Cup Series in 2020. Vince, I'm going to go through the rest of the field. I just need you to tell me who did not make the show today.
Do a rapid fire. We got Scott Roush, Blaine Saylor, Bradley Ream, Laura Chung, Mason Dagger, Roy Rippleton, Brent James, Reggie Fogelman, Trey Smith, and Cole Hudson missed the field as they get into the final turn, Sunset Bend. Into this front stretch should be a good race today as we go through the field right here.
See poor qualifying efforts out of Jessica Shelton and Andrew Rich. Coming into this race, only driver with 4 top 10s in 5 races is Jonathan Zorlin, second in the points. Seth Cole leads the points, 25 points over Zorlin. Seth and Zorlin, the only 2 drivers with 3 top 5s. 4 drivers with 3 top 10s, all in the top 5 in points. Seth Cole, Shelton, Tringali, and Dylan Young. 14-lap race, expecting fall off to be upwards of 3 to 5 seconds once again on the tire wear, and expecting the fuel strategy to put these drivers at lap 7 as we are looking to go 5 wide almost into turn 1, but we're going to make it 4 wide as Vince Freeze dips his tires into the grass.
Yeah, through the release here into the windup, as I like to say. These guys are starting to wind up with the gears. Zorlin on the outside there. Kukulon, Ellison getting close.
Okay, Vince Freeze worked that line there. There's still 4 wide. Back to 3 wide. This track is very wide, so you see them get very racy here on the initial green flag. We have had some accidents here in the past. We saw a truck go flipping last season. How about Vince Freeze started in, I want to say it was 13th, made that 4 wide move. I think he's in the top 10 now, but it is hard to tell. This track, 5.9 miles, Vince.
Yeah, 11th, I believe, as we wind up here through the next sections, through the attitudes we just went. Now we're going to go into agony, as I like to say, this turn. Agony on that left side.
Going to the front of the field, it's Fitzwater who made his way by Cement Oskin in the first few turns to get up to second place. McShane in fourth, Rain in fifth as Kev Shearer falls down to sixth. Charles Sandfer in seventh, Amanda Evans eighth, Kukulon ninth, and Nate Rogers rounds out the top 10. She's still very, very racy here. Just outside the top 10, that's Jonathan Zorlin. See Ellison fading out of the top 10. He's the one driver that started top 10 that has fallen down pretty far. Nico Tringali starting in 20th. He's made a few gains here on the opening lap. You just really got to wonder, Vince, what kind of strategy we're going to see today, because we believe these drivers can definitely make it to halfway on fuel, but we've been wrong before. And then on top of that, okay, if you can make it 9 laps on gas, does that mean, is it feasible to make the undercut and pit at lap 5 coming to lap 6?
Yeah, the pit delta will be key. We'll have to figure that out as the race goes on. We do know the sunshine plays a big role. We talked about this last year, almost the same exact spot, just the sunshine. And how saving the right side of your car is important with the more right-handers on this course.
See, Quinton Moore got the left sides in the grass there a little bit. You can see we're still not done with the first lap of the race, ladies and gentlemen. It takes 3 minutes and about 5 seconds to get around here in race trim. In Q trim, it's, you're clocking 3-minute lap times on the dot. See, we're coming around to finish the first lap of the race. See Charles Sandfer passing Kev Shearer there through the final corner to put himself up to 6th. It's Seth Cole out front. Rain all over the bumper of teammate McShane. As it's Fitzwater and Oskin closing up on the only 2-time winner this season out of Seth Cole.
You send to Seth Cole, man. He knows what he's doing. Fitzy goes a little bit wide in there to the windup. Now we're going to get through this windup section again, and now to clubhouse corner, and then down to the kink into Tool in turn 5. What does Oskin do with the draft as well? It's a little factor.
You see, it seems I was mistaken, Vince. They are actually running 3-minute lap times here in race trim. They could be running actually faster in race trim due to the cooler temperatures from qualifying. It's 46 degrees out here in Utah today. I believe it was much warmer in qualifying.
Short sweater for the fellow Utahnders, I guess you could say, Utes. But now let's see what Fitzy's got here, man. Seth Cole seems to be good in clean air. Fitzy's in dirty. I wonder if they switch positions, how Fitzy can go through agony on that right side of the tires. And yeah, he's just starting to fall back.
Oh, we had an issue. Lane Sanders has heavy back end and front end damage, and he has elected to pit on the first lap of the race. Not sure who that could have involved. Doesn't seem like anybody else was involved. It looks like he might have just got dumped. That's a tough break for the driver up the 31 machine. So we'll look here at the back of the field. Got Owen Miles, who got that pole at Willow Springs last week. Well, it looks like reality hit with this big track, and he had a terrible qualifying effort compared to Willow Springs. See, Andrew Rich, we mentioned, had the poor Q effort. He has made it up to 37th as of the start-finish line as he looks to pass Jessica Shelton, who came into this race top 5 in the point standings. As a reminder, every race matters with this full season championship. Levi McIntyre has shown good runs to start the year, but he is down in the dumps today. And there's still a lot of drivers such as Jesse Turner trying to cement themselves into the top 30 in points, Vince, so that they don't have to go through go or go home every week.
Yeah, starting today, it's this year's owners' points. We got a lot of people who are desperate. Yepez is one, Vargas as well. There's one that doesn't need it. It's Roe Young. He's doing fine. But now things are starting to creep into the championship too. Like I said, with this being a 30-race season, you got to go intense. So this first third of the season's almost done. After today, we're 60% of the way done through this 10-race stretch.
Yes, indeed. But of course, it is a 30-race season, so we're not really worried about 10-race stretches. But if you look at the West Coast swing, we've only got one race left, and that's in Denver in 2 weeks' time. Actually, no, we have Texas after that, so 2 races left in the West Coast swing. But Easter weekend next weekend, so these drivers going to get a week off. As we see, Zorlin is in 13th place. Mentioned he's the only driver with 4 top 10s on the year and one of 2 drivers with 3 top 5s on the year. But Zorlin not looking that quick here today at MMP. He's got work to do if he wants to get into the top 10. How about RJ Bishop in 11th place, though? It's quite the run for Wood Brothers Racing here. Looking inside the top 10, though, how about Sebastian Kugelan, Vince? I mean, running in 9th place, we know he had all those qualifying woes last year, and just kind of going to show that he's got the pace to be at the front of the field. He just needs to get that qualifying trim down, and right now he's showing it in 9th place.
Track position is always key, especially at road courses. But at the front, though, as we go through Amanda Evans here, doing good behind Kev Shear in 8th. Good run for her.
See, Allison Rain has made it up to 4th, but big gap to the top 3. Seth Cole has started to inch away from Zachary Fitzwater Sr. Lane Sanders has elected to continue, but I believe this 31 machine is without a rear end, and that is the case. It is gone, so wherever he got turned, he nailed that wall with the back end, and it looks like he got good front end damage as well. So that second lap by Vince, fastest lap belonged to the 07, with Fitzwater second, Rain third on the lap time chart, Charles Sandfer in 5th. And I believe the one driver here outside of the top 10 on that top 10 sheet is the 7 of Tringali, who sits in 16th. So watch out for Tringali. He is trying to move his way forward. He's already gotten 15th from Zach Flickinger. Peter Onjak having another good run here today after that run at Willow Springs. He's currently in 14th. But right now, Vince, I'd say unless strategy surprises us tenfold today, it's got to be one of those top 3, I think. You know, between Seth Cole, Fitzwater, and Oskin. But, of course, don't count out the 10 of Allison Rain. She surprised us with her first and only career road course win at Sebring last year. And that was her first win of the season.
Yeah, and I believe she did really well Watkins Glen. I remember other than that punt at the end of the race almost with Seth, but I think you're right. I thought someone was gonna peak there. I mean, McShane. Sanford's also trying to defend his crown here from last season. But he's got a long way to go.
Up to 5th place now over McShane as Kev Shearer went wide, and that opened the door for Amanda Evans to take 7th. Quite the run for Evans here today. Not really a track I'd expect her to do fairly well at, but maybe just being such a big track, you know, it just kind of brings out surprises like this.
Yeah, and I think qualifying, that one lap pace matters here as the tires fall off. Having that track position is crucial. You see that with Kukulon behind.
Now Kev Shearer is starting to go down. Could be losing 8th place here to Kukulon depending how this next corner goes.
The clubhouse, yep.
And it looks like Kukulon could have the line advantage here. And Kukulon will take 8th place. So that'll drop Kev to 9th. Nate Rogers right on his bumper for that position. So RJ Bishop is last in line here in range of a top 10 position. As Tringali will pass Peter Onjak for 14th place. Eyes on his teammate Jonathan Zorlin as Vince Freeze has managed to hold on to 12th place so far. Had James Ellison start in the top 10, but he has fallen to 18th, has now stabilized. As Alexander Rowe looks to pass Derek Hamill for 20th after Quinton Moore took 19th place away from him. Dylan Young, you know, Willow Springs wasn't bad enough. He is struggling here once again at another road course, currently outside of the top 20.
Dylan Young can't wait for road courses to end this little stretch here. Sure.
How about Christian Vargas, currently in the top 25, came into this race. If I can find him in the point standings, don't mind me. 25th in the point standings. And he has missed a race, and he's been doing pretty surprisingly well. First race he didn't have to go through go or go home qualifying, so he's looking to keep this car and himself top 30 in the points, but he's got to get good finishes to do that. Don't want to be hot by some other drivers. Speaking of said other drivers, let's see if there's anybody outside the top 30 worth mentioning. James Ellison, 31st coming into this race, just 2 points out under Logan Williams. Amanda Evans, 32nd in the points coming into this thing. Priya McShane, 34th. RJ Bishop, 36th. Derek Hamill, 37th. And those are the main ones currently near the front of the field. Especially if you look at the 65, 41, and 21 events, those three could potentially jump their way into the top 30. And I think, last year, after a while, the top 30 battle really died down, settled down. I have a feeling that's not going to be the case this year. It came down to only like three or four drivers last year. I believe it was Matthew Rodriguez who was hanging on by a thread. And it was down to McShane, Yepes, and Adam Flickinger trying to catch him for 30th place. I believe this year it's going to be totally different. I think we're going to see a lot more drivers fight for that 30th place in owner's points if 2023 is to be a thing, because you want to be locked in for what might not be 5 races next year. Could be less depending on the schedule length, but it's nice to be able to be locked in for at least 1 or 2 races.
Absolutely. You said the cars are this year compared to last year. A lot of the teams can tweak it. I think we said that at Phoenix with Vargas when he had a good run. A lot of these cars and manufacturers and engineers figured out ways to help these second-year drivers and third-year drivers compared to the big guns like Young, Fitzy, Rain. We're definitely starting to see a little parity versus last year where it was just straight up the big 4 or 5.
Quentin Moore took 18th place away from Ellison, and now Ellison is trying not to be the next one outside the top 20, but Alex Sandero is there, and you see almost 180 miles an hour down this long part of the track, second longest part of the track to the front straightaway. You see already about 2 seconds of fall off Vince here on the lap times deep in this pack, as Rowe will take 19th place away. We're seeing Tringali and Zorlin all over the bumper of Vince Freeze as those three have slowly started to catch up to this pack, as Amanda Evans has made it by Priya McShane to get up to 6th place.
He might be holding this pack up. Definitely has more pace. And I think it could be a 10-car battle before pit stops. There's Sandfer on his own. Now the top 4 starting to Constantine up.
Let's see. Last time by, Sandfer a 3-minute .7. Rain a 5:86. See Oskin a 3:01.1. Fitzy a 3:01.0. And Seth Cole a 3:01.0. So the 10 and the 03 are closing up the gap. As you see, Evans, I believe, was behind. Yeah, she was behind McShane just at the line, and she ran a 3:01.9. So McShane definitely holding these drivers up. Let's see. Bishop to Vince Freeze is about a 0.3 of a second different, as well as Tringali is going to go the long way around here, trying to get both his teammate Zorlin and Vince Freeze in the 12, and he gets it done.
Good move right into there. I believe that's the precision turn there. Now let's see what. I mean, I'm looking forward to these pit stops. I even know we're about a lap and a half away. It's interesting camo. Vince is going to fight back on the inside here at the hairpin.
And Tringali's got to be, in my opinion, the fastest car outside the top 10 right now. I think if they played a strategy game right, this car could be a top 10 finisher.
Especially with that pack up ahead slowing up. This could be big.
But Vince, with how big this track is, 5.9 miles, and with the heavy tire wear, we're really starting to see the veteran presence move their way up the running order.
Which is expected. Rookies like Vince Freeze, I think Sandfer. Audrey's a little bit of an exception, but even herself. You just don't have the technicality. And this is probably the most difficult road course outside of Road 1 we go to in terms of understanding the track.
Oh, yes, indeed. Road 1, new track on the schedule later in the year. That's in August. That is, I believe, the second biggest track on the schedule next to Milano. But, Milano, of course, more of a super speedway hybrid road course. And that track, of course, we didn't have pit stops on that track last year, and I don't expect us to have pit stops on it this year.
Bishop.
See, Nate Rogers. Nate Rogers has moved up to 8th. Now he's looking for position on McShane. This would be for 7th, as Rain has closed the gap to the race leader under 2 seconds now. Let's see, what kind of lap did Amanda Evans run in comparison? A 3:02.5. So she's still off pace. But yeah, Rain and Sandfer, they are closing the gap to the top 3, Vince. Now, last year, it was a battle between Sandfer and Seth Cole, who were Chevy rivals last year, now teammates this year, after Seth Cole Racing shut down at the end of 2021. Could this be a fight between Seth and Charles again as teammates, or is it going to come down to the 10 and the 03?
I don't know right now. Oskin's definitely wide in certain sections of the track. He's going to have to pull this together. Rain's closing up. And you got to think about the Terminator, too, right? He's out 2-0 right now. You don't want that supremacy as the leader of this team to have Seth Cole take over. Now, we know Seth's good at these road courses. We're going to go into a stretch of more ovals, but to get 3 wins on the season, especially at a place like Phoenix, too, where he's been dominant, that's a big up for the bye, man.
You gotta wonder, we've had 4 different winners in 5 races. Last year, through 5 races, we only had 3 different winners. It was Rain with 3 wins, Osman Hamid with the Daytona 500 win, and then Charles Sandfer here at this track. This track was the 5th race of the season last year, now the 6th race of the season. But I gotta wonder, Vince, you know, it's lap 6. I know we believe these drivers can stretch it halfway, so it really makes me wonder if an undercut here is viable. Fall off, you know, up to 3 seconds. So from a fast time. So I want to say it is viable to pit now, but, you know, you got to go that extra lap on the set of tires at the end of the race, you know, versus the beginning of the race. In my opinion, with how big this track is, I would just cut it in the middle, lap 7 to lap 8. But let's see if anybody pits, and Seth Cole will. Oskin will come in with him.
Bria might be coming in.
Nate Rogers will pit. Sorlin will pit on Zach Flickinger. Alexander Rowe. Alex Ferranti. Jesse Turner. Cole Deaver. Keith Rich. McIntyre. Cologne. Andrew Rich, who's been working his way up the field. A lot of people at the back. That's going to spice things up. Speaking of Andrew Rich, he had made his way all the way up to 31st, which doesn't seem like much, but of course, you know, this pit road is fun to get into. So this is going to be interesting to see, Vince. I think it's definitely a one-stopper for all these drivers.
Yeah, but they'll be hurting at the end of this run. Seth Cole, maybe with the experience, Oskin, they can get away with it. Maybe Zorlin, but I feel like everybody else at the back-to-back dirty air plays a big role. Seth easily beats Oskin out of the pit road here.
So Seth Cole and Oskin, the first ones off the pit lane. Sixteen drivers, Vince, stayed out, so a majority pit there on lap 6.
Another thing we got to watch out, really important, is cold tires. I mean, we've seen cold tires make a difference. At this place, this is probably the longest track to heat up your tires, for sure.
So that gave the lead to Fitzwater. Out of our top 10 drivers, 6 stayed on the racetrack. Actually, 7 stayed on the racetrack. Then Tringali, who's been fast all run, he's the first one outside there. I don't think he's got a chance at the win, though, with where he is. I definitely say it's down to, you know, 59-10 and the 03 here out of what will be the second pit group. Remember, last year, Fitzwater and Rain had very fast cars, but with the smaller fuel tank package and the softer tire compound, they pitted an extra time. So they finished outside the top 30. So they're on the other end of the strategy game this year.
Yeah, Fitzy and Rain were not happy, especially on the same team as teammates. This year, they'll rivals and see what happens as Fitzwater works his way through these sections here into the Black Rock area.
Don't forget about what happened at Auto Club last year. You know, that was Rain's 3rd win in a row. You know, first driver to win 3 races in a row in the Cup Series, and you know, Fitzwater was still looking for his first, which he got at the next race on the schedule, which was, well, 2 races later on the schedule, which was at Denver, because because I believe Denver was the 6th race of the season last year. I might be mistaken on that. I think we went to Provo first, actually, where we saw Dylan Young win, and then we went to Denver and Fitzwater won. But here it is, lap 7. I'd be shocked if anybody stretches at another lap with the number of drivers we saw pit on lap 6. I'd be very surprised.
I don't think it's worth it, unless you're really someone just has nothing to lose. But it looks like everyone's filing in.
Vargas was the last one to pit, and that is
here
it.
we go.
So there's Seth Cole, there's Samet Oskin, Nate Rogers, Sorlin, Rowe, Onjak, and so forth. Oh, and Shelton had a terrible pit stop.
Bitsy.
All right, Vince. Let's see what happens here. You can see that final corner out in the distance.
Sunset Bend way out there. Now, what does Fitzy do on this warm-up? Let's see the launch on.
Here
Oh,
they
there
come.
they come.
Here comes Seth and Oskin. And there goes Fitzwater.
Easy for Seth with the warmer tires. Same
Fitzwater,
thing with
Rain,
Oskin.
and Sandfer, first 3 out. They're the ones to watch here. '07 and the 22 gonna drive around the '03 of Sandfer. Mentioned the warmer tires. You've got 5.9 miles of racetrack. You've got to try and use those warm tires to your advantage here because, you know, if you get held up behind these drivers, you are going to lose a ton of time because they've got that lap on you.
Seth knows it. He's got to go now, and this is a good place to catch him with the draft in the Sector 1 here, for sure.
He's going to get rain here. Now, Oskin was 3rd before pit
Look
stops.
at the brakes.
Yep, tires warmed up. You got to get by Fitzwater now. Can't let him hold you up. See, he's all over Fitzwater's back bumper.
Into the attitudes as we go down the hill. He's doing a good job, Fitzwater. Same thing with Rain on Oskin. Good job here by them. Sandfer will definitely close him.
Remember, Sandfer was on that overcut last year, too. Now, he's benefiting big time if either of these two get held up.
There's the move.
There's the move by Oskin. Seth Cole's going to go the long way around. But, you know, about halfway through the racetrack, Seth Cole gets back by Fitzwater. Now Oskin's going to dive it in on him here for second. So that puts Fitzwater, Rain, and Sandfer nose to tail. 3rd through 6th, Nate Rogers. Or third through 5th, rather. Nate Rogers in 6th, Evans 7th. There's Sorlin in 8th. Kukulon 9th, and Rowe 10th. So Rowe jumping into the top 10 there. I believe he was on that undercut. Actually, Zorlin was on the undercut. These two just pit. See Ferranti and Turner gaining a ton of track position. Looks like McIntyre benefited big from this. So did Andrew Rich. There you see Tringali, who was one of the fastest drivers, as Lane Sanders will make his final stop of the day. We know he pit lap 1 because of an incident that we will check at the end of the race. See Andrew Rich. Now, how far can Andrew Rich climb? That's a big question. See Vince Freeze dropping big time here on cold tires, I believe. James Ellison. Dylan Young down in the dump stay once again. Oh, and now Oskin is going for the race lead on Seth Cole.
I don't know I would be doing that right now. That's going to help that second chasing pack. You want to stay single file. And Fitzy lost 3rd.
He lost 3rd to Rain. We know Rain was faster than him during that first run, but I think Rain made the smart play. Get by him when you can, because you know Charles Sandfer won here last year, and he's got probably about the same pace as you.
3.2 should be the gap, I think.
Nope, 4.4. The gap was under a 1.5 seconds at pit stops. So you got to wonder how that's going to get whittled down here. But if these two start racing, then, you know, if you're Oskin, if you want to pass this 07, you better set them up and you better pass them quickly, because the longer you race side by side through a track like this where you're back and forth, right to left, right to left, right to left, that's going to let the 10 close in the gap big time.
I wouldn't count the 9 out either. Maybe not for a win, but maybe a top 5 if someone slips up.
Of course, right now the biggest disadvantage to the 9 is he has a lap older tires than the 3 in front of him. See, Sorlin benefited big out of that pit stop cycle, up to 7th now. Kukulon just hanging on to a top 10 here. Fun fact about Alex Ferrati, he is the highest driver in points without a top 5 finish, 14th in the standings with 2 top 10s. By the way, we never really went over the championship points outside of Seth Cole over Sorlin's. Shelton came in 33 back, Tringali 34 back, and Dylan Young 41 back. Both Andrew Rich and Nate Rogers 55 back, Charles Sandfer 58 back. Those are the only drivers within a race's range of the championship battle, as none of these drivers have had a bad race yet, except for Dylan Young last week at Willow Springs, which wasn't a bad race, but it was, you know, pretty bad.
Young don't want to be on him for a while for sure. Now Sanford's heating up the pressure on Fitzy.
You know something, Vince? I still have a bad gut feeling like I did after last year. I just hope that all those drivers that pit on lap 6 coming to 7, I hope they did that knowing they could go 8 laps.
You would hope, but at the same time, this would be, I don't know, man. I just think if you're Seth Cole, is he going to try to back it down on lap 11, 12, save it a little bit? Now these guys are starting to battle again. That's what helps Rain. Definitely Rain's closing.
Well, Rain is pulling from Fitzwater, and that's why Charles Sandfer has to go now. This is for 4th place. Remember, these two are on the same set of tires, so equal battle here. So now if you're Charles Sandfer, you know the 10's just as fast as you. This is what you got to hope for now. The 10's got 2 cars to pass. If she struggles to pass those 2 cars, you are going to catch up like a fishing rod, hauling in a shark. Well, maybe not a shark, Vince, but a cod, a good codfish, swordfish, maybe. I want to see
good, a little salmon.
I want to see the gap from Rain to Sandfer. Last time I was 0.6. Now it is 1.6 seconds. So she pulled a whole second. That's how much slower Fitzwater is to the 10. Fastest lap of the race for Rain, of course. Finally got some clean air on the nose. 0.8 faster than the top 2. And of course, Sandfer held up by the 59. And Rain with the 2nd fastest lap on the race, just behind the 07.
Ooh, we got a lapper. That's Lane.
How much slower is the 31? Oh, he is terribly slow. He probably shouldn't even be on this racetrack. But, you know, the track's so dang big, we didn't even really pay attention. We did not even pay attention to this one. Yeah, he is 2 seconds over minimum pace right now, but it's a bit late. It is a bit late. Probably should have done this a lap ago. So he has been told to park, but sadly he's gonna get in the way. It's a little too late.
Yeah, it's too big. 6 miles almost definitely will do that. What is Seth Cole and us? This could be a big play for Allison Rain. And if you're Rain, do you even want to catch up now and just wait for that 31 and DQ and not deal with them? We'll find out.
Well, we talked about using drivers as picks, so I think they're going to get him in a good section here. Yep, Seth Cole's going to turn left.
Oh, Oskin a little bit.
Oskin waited a little bit there. How much better grip does the 31 have? We know he pit a lap later. Oh, yeah, this is not good at all. Seth Cole will clear him there. Oskin's going to have to take a wider arc. This is going to help Rain tremendously for the 22. And there goes the 22. Now, I think we're close enough to pit road. I don't think the 31 will hold up the 10 here.
Black Rock hairpin right now. I don't know, man. I think 31, the 10 might get a perfect draft here as well if she times it perfectly. There's a scream section right here, and then we'll go into workout.
Meanwhile, we'll check the rest of the top 10 once the 31 pits. But yeah, here's his final left-hander. So Rain, good to go. So the 31 will pit here.
The little draft. I think that gap's definitely under 3 seconds now, and Sandfer's starting to close. Fitzwater made a wrong adjustment.
Well, I don't think Fitzwater was really up to snuff to be a top 3 car in the beginning. Anyway, we saw how much the 10 and the 03 were closing before. Yep, there's a second and 2/10. But the gap from the 10 to the 03 went from 1.6 seconds to just a single second. I think this 03 is the guy to win again, Vince. 4 laps to go. You can totally close the gap here. But you've got to catch these two and pass these two as well.
The old adage, right? Catching is one thing, passing is a whole different.
Look at this. Charles Sandfer ran his fastest lap of the race last time by after going around the track 2 laps already, and he ran a 2:59.2. 5 fastest drivers all inside the top 5. You see Tringali 6th on that board, with Sorlin 7th. William Brock is 10th on that board. Let's go through the field one more time here. See Amanda Evans still 8th, Rose still 9th, Kugelon 10th. Ferranti, Onjak, Turner. Turner needing this run to be top 30 next week. Same with McShane there, 15th. How about Andrew Rich up to 18th, man? Tringali, had a bit of a bad pit stop. Fell down to 20. He fell outside the top 20. Now he's back up to 20th, just after passing William Brock. See Logan York there. Kev Shear has plummeted. RJ Bishop has plummeted. Vince Freeze as well. James Ellison down in the dumps. That's the top 30 right there. Yepes has gone nowhere all day. Dylan Young is down here in 38th. Oh, that's miserable. Same for Shelton. 2 of the top 5 in the points, Vince. Awful, awful days for them. As Stephen Colon has been involved in an incident just recently. He's got rear end damage.
I don't think they'll play a factor in a DQ, but who knows?
Well, if it does, the officials will have to jump on this one. They do not want to make the same mistake they made with the 31. There's still 3 very long laps to go here, Vince.
3.5 to go, and they're there. They're definitely there now.
Yeah, I think just with the draft, all the drafting around this track, it's a cup car, not a truck, but man, the undercut is just not the way to go at this racetrack.
This thing's not really at a premium here. You got Sunset Bend, you got the first turn, you got the hairpin, you got chutes and ladders, the attitude section as we enter the dreamboat section right here, as I like to say.
Coming to the final turn, 3 laps to go, and I still got that gut feeling in my stomach. If they don't do it coming to 2 to go, I think they will go to the finish. But Rain is in draft of the 22 now, and Sandfer is in draft of her, but Sandfer has not really closed the gap compared to last time by. Let's see the margin update here. Another second and 2/10 for the 10 to the 07, but Charles that time by only closed the gap 2/10 to the 10, and that just continues to my point, Vince. I really feel like the 03 and the 10, they are equal right now. 03 is getting a little draft. So I think definitely how you get by the 07 and the 22, I think that's going to determine who wins between the 10 and the 03. If the 10 gets held up and the 03 can close the gap, it's going to get very interesting.
I agree. Now, what does Seth Cole do? He knows Askin's going to be the pick, basically, between him and a win. Boy, oil on the back right there, and then you got some bye. We'll find out here.
And Stephen Colon has opted not to pit, so he's going to ride it out there with that rear end damage. So to my knowledge, we've got 2 incidents to look at. The 31 on lap 1 and then the 47 there on lap 11.
Any right here, what is Allison Rain goes a little bit lower on that right side, that crucial right side.
We've had
go a little wide.
Chevy won both of the Jerky Pro Truck Series races here. And Ford won the first race in 2019. Chevy last year with Charles Sandfer, but Oskin with a terrible corner. That opens the door for Allison Rain, but Rain had the check up there. Not a good corner for her. That's going to let Sandfer close the gap. can see the speed difference. And it is down to these four. Fitzwater, Nate Rogers, nowhere close. Sorlin, Amanda Evans, Rowe, and Kukulon all on their own there for their positions. I mean, maybe a battle for 10th near the end of the race. But this is where the action's at. This is what we're going to keep our eyes on. See Rain, she's looking to dive it in there on the 22. Still can't quite get to the left or right side of the 22. Now Charles is really there. This is what I was talking about, Vince. You can't let the 03 get back up to you. That's going to make things very, very difficult. Ooh, we see Rain making the look. Getting a little wiggly again. How much can Oskin do to fend off? Does Rain clear before the corner? No, not quite. Oskin fighting back on her inside. Into the final corner for 2 laps to go. We will go. And Charles takes this corner way too wide.
Oh. I don't think Seth Cole's got anything left to that. I think even though he's got the expertise, I think Rain, I got a feeling into the black hairpin when we go back around. That last section we saw could be it.
Now, Sandfer closes 0.2 of margin there at the start-finish line, but I think he lost about 3 or 4 tenths by taking that final corner too wide. He's got to get by Oskin. If you let Rain get by Seth Cole before you get by Oskin, you are done. Coming down the second longest straightaway of this track, and Sandfer was wide once again.
I think right here, then we'll go into tool turn.
Rain, however, closer to the 07 than the 03 is to the 22. Rain looking to the right. Starting to peek that nose. Now she's right on the bumper of Seth Cole. Had to check up a little bit there. Charles Sandfer, you gotta go. You got to go. Gotta get by that 22 car. Onjak has moved up to 11th. Of course, Cologne's still not pitting. This is where the money's at. 4 cars racing for the win, Vince. 2 on the undercut, 2 on the overcut.
Rain gonna try to, I don't know, a little bit wide. Sandfer a little bit wide. And there's Rain with the move now.
Rain with the move on Seth Cole as Sandfer puts one on Cement Oskin. But both have to check.
Oskin's got to run the gotcha section down this backstretch here a little bit, but he'll tuck back in. He's going to use the brakes.
Oskin's going to dive in, looking back for second. That's going to open the door for Sandfer here. Who does Sandfer go with? He's trying to go with Oskin to set him up here. He's going to hold the line there with the 22.
Right, that check up.
That checks up the 10. Oskin gets back by Rain. And now Charles Sandfer's going to take third. What a turn of events. Oh, maybe not quite yet.
Oskin's
Rain's still looking. Side by side for third. This is helping Seth Cole tremendously, so much I can't even speak. But Charles has the draft off the 22, and he'll take third. Officially. Oh, but Rain, a 2-time champion, she will not be denied. Both of these drivers looking for the first win of the year. So is Oskin.
Dreamboat, then we'll get to Sunset Bend.
Final corner coming to the white. Coming to the white. Nobody is going to pit here. This is for the win. Rain goes wide. Coming to the white flag. Remember, still 5.9 miles.
Draft coming here from the 22. Watch him try to make a break in a 1.
Rain has faded back. Now you got to wonder how much of a cliff are 7-lap old tires to 6-lap old tires. And if you're Charles Sandfer, can you do to Seth Cole what you did to him last year? Oh, they are really hitting the brakes on each other now. Charles is going to dive to the left of Oskin.
I don't think that's the move. Even oh, he's gonna get a run.
Wait. Let's take a look from the blimp cam. Charles Sandfer's got to run.
Where does Rain go with the draft? In the middle.
She's looking like she's holding with the 03. How much harder can Charles get on the brakes? He's going to clear him in the braking zone. Charles Sandfer. Is it deja vu time here in the Digital Storm Cup Series?
Oh boy. I don't know, man. He's gonna have to go to the Black Rock hairpin, though. I think on this lap to make it happen. That's the
just think of all the finishes we've seen this year, from Daytona to Atlanta to Phoenix to Auto Club. Last week was the tame one where Seth Cole dominated, but Charles Sandfer, Seth Cole, you know, he's led pretty much this whole race, minus a lap to Fitzwater. Charles is looking once again here to win at this track. Vince, how much track we got left?
Long way to go. We're still not even halfway through. We got to get to the gotcha section before we get halfway, which is coming up after this turn right here. And there it is. There's gotcha. Now we're going to get into 11 turns left to go. What can we do as we enter the precision turn, one of the most important turns for left-handers on the track? Seth Cole goes a little deeper. Sandfer reigns a little wide. Oskin's closing the gap now.
Charles has not been able to get by Seth Cole. That's allowed Oskin to fight back like Oskin was able to do on Rain. Oh, and Charles messes up. He sent it too deep. He sent it too deep. He'll hold position, though. Oskin now almost gets into him.
This is the Black Rock hairpin here. We only got 5 turns left after this. What a run by Seth Cole. Sandfer just a little bit too much, I think, with the exit. Now we'll go into the final 4, into the scream right here, as they get up to 5th gear, even though you can't see it on telemetry.
The 4th gear. We still only have 4 gears. There's the move! Charles Sandfer to the right side of Seth Cole. Can he hold the nose? He's holding it. He's holding it. This is the final left-hander. Coming to the final right-hander.
Sunset Bend, this is it. I think he's got
Final corner, Charles Sandfer. He's going to take the race lead away. What a pass. And Charles Sandfer is going to win here again. Second year in a row. Unbelievable. And Seth Cole holds on to second, but can you believe it? I'm yelling over a road course finish. I can't believe it.
This is the last place you would expect to get a good finish, to be honest, with how wide it is. But these 4 just, I think they outbraked each other. Tire wear, you had the right guy in front. Because if Rain was in front, this race was over. There's no doubt. But made a mistake on the 2 laps prior.
Seth Cole holds on to second, but it's second for the 2nd year in a row. And we haven't had a driver go back-to-back yet this year. Rain 3rd, best finish on the year for her so far. Oskin 4th, Fitzwater 5th. Nate Rogers in 6th place. Zorland 7th, Amanda Evans 8th, Alexander Rowe 9th, and Kukulon holding on to a top 10 over Peter Onjak. Mentioned Jesse Turner needing a good run there in 14th place. Priya McShane 15th. Andrew Richman, what a climb from the bottom up to 19th on the day. Tringali back up to 17th after a poor pit stop. Whoo! Whoo, buddy, man. Whoo, buddy. Dylan Young, terrible day, 34th. Shelton, 37th. Huh. What can you say about this finish, Vince? I mean, man, oh, man.
Yeah, last lap, last turns. Charles Sandfer, man, he messed up too into the Black Rock hairpin. I thought it was over, but he somehow just had more grip, and I guess the cliff, right? We talked about the cliff. You mentioned it. That tire cliff hit Seth Cole. Oskin, not bad. He hung in. I thought once he got lost past Rain, I thought he'd fall back further, but did a good job.
Well, that's one heck of a way to send the series off into Easter weekend. Charles Sandfer, 11th career win in the Digital Storm Cup Series, and 2nd at this track, 2nd in a row at this track. And I mean, I had doubts about this track coming back on the schedule this year, but I mean, I think Jerky Pro's got to come back here again next year, man. I know Jerky Pro's got a much smaller schedule, but this track is just Incredible. I mean, Jerky Pro gonna have to fight to get this one back and get a doubleheader with Cup again, man. But Charles Sandfer, I think this package was definitely more exciting. I think we'll definitely stick with this package in the future here. But it's Charles Sandfer who is the winner, Vince. And man, yeah, that's all I got for y'all today. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks at Denver.
I know.
Oh wait, I almost forgot. We've got
Replay.
accidents. We've got accidents to look at. So excited, I almost forgot about the accidents. All right, looking at our first incident here with Lane Sanders, and just racing at the very back of the pack, and Adam Flickinger just doesn't cut him a break here. Thinks he's clear, he's not. That's gonna turn the 31 to the right into a left-hand turn. So, brace for this impact, man. The fact that Lane even continued with that car is kind of incredible. But of course, parked him there, and Vince, I know Seth Cole wasn't really held up too much, but that little bit there on that one left-hander might have hurt Seth Cole just that little bit. I mean, don't really know, but I think that was just, you got to focus on the finish, and the finish was crazy. But we've got one more incident to take a look at. Where have we seen this before? Dylan Young was leading the last time he wrecked somebody on a road course, but this time it was for racing for 37th, and you can just got to know that this man was probably very frustrated. Second week in a row on a road course, having a terrible day, and just kind of gets a little too aggressive on Stephen Colon and is going to dump him at a 37th place. So both of our accidents today, racing for last, wrecking for last. But man, oh man, look at the gap at 4 laps to go here, and it ended up being this man's day. Charles Sandfer, your winner. Miller Motorsports Park. Off week next week for Easter weekend. And yeah, that is gonna do it. So, Vince and I will see y'all next time. Yeah, we signing off. Peace. Peace out.